Hello YouTube, Genius in Exile here. Just got back from picking blackberries. Yes, I know I'm fresh out of the hospital and I should not be up and around, but you know what? Being down depresses me. I realize that I heal a lot faster when I'm up and running. I am motion activated. I have got to go. So, wore a lot of protective clothing, slathered on a ton of sunblock, and went out and picked about 4 pounds of berries. Yes, I know this doesn't look like 4 pounds of berries because I've got them in here and I've got them crushed. As you can see, I've got a very complicated and sophisticated operation here. French rolling pin, bowl. That's right. So I've got 5 cups of berries here crushed, and what I'm going to do is get this into my pot, put in 1 package of pectin, and get this to a boil. So, you know, it's not bad. I mean, it's only April, and we've already got a lot of blackberries. This bowl is pretty much full. I'll show you a picture here in a sec of how full it was. And we still have more growing out in the front yard. We actually went over to a neighborhood around the corner where there are always blackberries every year, so we went and just picked those. I've got my canner with some boiling water in there and the jars in there to keep them nice and sterile. I've got my lids heating up, and now all I have to do is make the jam. This is going to be really pretty. I don't know if it's picking up the colors, but oh, this is nice. And you know, there's nothing better than blackberry jam spread over some fresh home-baked bread. But what's even better is free blackberries, because the prices on these things are just astronomical. I mean, a little 4-ounce clamshell for $5, and who knows what they put on them. These were just growing in the wild, just as nature intended. You know, you have to go out there and dodge the pricklies, but you know, it's not too bad. So I've got these crushed. Get back to you in a minute when I get them in the pot, and I'll start adding everything up. And the recipe is, and this is mine, you might have something different, but this is what works for me. It's 5 cups of berries, 1 package of powdered pectin, that's all I ever use is powdered, and it'll be 6.5 cups of sugar. So let me get all that measured out. This is already measured out. I've actually measured the berries as I crushed them, and I'll get the sugar measured out. I'll be back to you in a minute. And then what do you do with the leftover blackberries you have? Make smoothies. Okay, because you should always rotate your food storage. Haha. Using some sugar I put back last year. So I'm going to measure out 6 cups. And usually this works better if you kind of break up your sugar a little bit. There's no oxygen absorber in here, or else I'd never get it out. So, and it's always better to have your sugar measured out ahead of time, because when it comes time to add your sugar all at once, you really don't want to be stuck doing this while your jam is boiling like crazy. So I'll be back when I've got my sugar measured out. Okay, so I've got my berries and my pectin in the pot. I've got my lids getting ready to start heating up. I've got my sugar right here, and it's always a good idea to have it right next to the pot. So what happens is, while you're waiting for this to boil for 1 minute, and jam kind of goes fast. It seems like it goes slow, and then all of a sudden it's boiling and you're counting and you're dumping in the sugar, so it's really kind of best to have everything you need already set out. And that's kind of a good rule with canning anyway. It just works out a lot better. And I'm actually using my pressure canner right now to can these, because I'm not going to pressure can them. It's just that I've been sick and my canning pot is elsewhere. So use what you got. So I've got my jars in there boiling, and they're really boiling. And it's funny, I was reading the back of the pectin box, and it said do not change recipes, do not double recipes. I found with the powder pectin, you can actually change it up just a little bit. You know, I actually reduced the sugar a tad bit on these recipes, and I don't have any problems. But when they say don't double the recipes, they say that for a reason. Ask me how I know. I have some great ice cream sauce, though. Not jelly. So what I'm going to do is, while this is still cold, just mix up the pectin. Turn on the heat. High. What you want to do is just keep stirring. And it seems like your hand's going to fall off, and those of you who have made jam and jelly know what I'm talking about, but you just keep going on it. You can actually stop here and there while it's still cool, but when it starts to heat up, you really want to stay on top of it. So I'll be back when this starts to boil to show you what it looks like. And whenever you make jam, some other people may have their own methods. Some don't use pectin at all. Some use only liquid pectin. I've never had any success with liquid pectin. The only thing I use liquid pectin for is adding it to my smoothies to help block fat absorption. It's actually pretty good stuff, but I only just eat it. So what you do is you get your berries and your pectin mixed up, ready to go. Then you turn on your heat. Bring it to a hard boil, which is a boil you cannot stir down, for 60 seconds. I count. Sometimes people use timers. I count. And then I dump my sugar in all at once. And then I stir it in, and then you bring that to another boil for 60 seconds. And then I skim off the foam. And then I load it up into my hot jars. So, be back in a few. Wanted to mention to all those who haven't made jam or jelly, the reason why you want to keep stirring is because this stuff will splatter absolutely everywhere. So if you keep it moving, there's less of a chance of that happening, because it's not really your work surface you're worried about. That can be wiped up. This stuff is hot and it will burn. So keep stirring. It's almost there. It's been about 6 minutes now. Oh, ow. Okay, better keep stirring faster. No talk, keep stir. I'm so sorry I didn't get a chance to show you what it looked like when the berries were at a full boil, because they were popping up so hard. It got me big time. And once the 60-second was up, I had to add the sugar. So sorry I didn't get a chance to catch that part, but it was bubbling and popping and burning really bad, so I kind of had to take my opportunity when I could. But I just added in all the sugar all at once, and as you can see, that worked out really well, because if you don't have to sit there measuring out cup for cup, you just dump it right in and go on from there. So that's what it looks like when it has all the sugar in. Got a beautiful color. Free blackberries. You know, I've heard a lot of preppers talk about getting free fruits, you know, free peaches, free apples. You know, I was talking about foraging persimmons and, you know, other fruits last year. There's such a sense of accomplishment when you go out and get it yourself, especially when it grows wild, so you know there's no weird pesticides or anything on it. It's just exactly the way nature intended it, you know. And nature doesn't wait for man's harvest. It really doesn't. It'll just keep going, and if you miss it, you miss all your great opportunities, and nature's going to keep going as it does. So, you know, what you get out of the jars is what you put into it. So these were just picked a couple hours ago, and they're already into jam. So this is going to be some of the absolute most beautiful, fresh-tasting jam we've ever had. Of course, I go foraging for as much fruits and vegetables and things as I can, because free is a price anybody can afford. It just takes a little bit of work, and you know, I've talked to some people who, you know, I've mentioned that I went out and picked berries and did this and did that, and they always say, why don't you buy them from the store? I say, well, where did they grow? Oh, I don't know. Was anything sprayed on them? I don't know. This I know. Nothing has been sprayed on them, because it's an abandoned lot where nobody's been for about 20-something years, so these blackberries are just fine, you know. But this is looking really beautiful. Hope you can see that color. I'm going to keep stirring until this comes up to a hard boil. That one I will definitely try to get on film, but I mentioned before, jam goes really fast. Nothing's happening, and all of a sudden it's happening all at once, and you got to be quick. But the best part about making jams and jellies is it goes quick. You don't have to wait 90 minutes for a pressure canner. But with boiling water bath canning, which is what I'm going to do with this, everything must be incredibly clean. So what I'll do is I'll take my ladle, it's stainless steel, and I'll dip that into the boiling water that I've got the jars in. Then I'll be putting them in to process them. I've got the jars in there now. Lids are just getting nice and hot. I got them on low. And everything I use will be dipped in that boiling water. Just clean, 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 because you just don't heat everything up as hot as you would when you pressure can. So keeping everything sterile is really important. And don't wear white when you can, because you'll end up with polka dots. So get back to you in a minute when this is boiling. Okay, so this is almost at a full rolling boil. Pretty much is now. And this is a boil you cannot stir down. You know, sometimes you can stir something, it'll kind of calm down a little bit, but no, this is going for it. So I'm trying to swing my spoon side to side to keep it from popping. And this is going to splatter everywhere anyway. So if you're real clean and you try to chase all the splatters around with a wet rag, it'll be like the most unfun game you've ever played. So it'll be splatter wipe, and sometimes while you're wiping, it'll splatter, and that hurts. So I've got a timer on right now because I can't count and talk at the same time. I've only got about 10 seconds left, so I guess I've been rambling on for about a minute. But I just want to show y'all what it looked like. And there's a little bit of foam on top, which I'll skim. Whoop, there we go. So I turn off the heat, stir it a little bit to keep it calm, keep it from flopping around. Try to keep it clean here, but that's just not going to happen. You try though. There it is. So now what I'm going to do is make a bunch of noise with a wooden spoon. Get the top off my canner. Remember, always open it away from you. The steam hurts. Fresh out of a burn ward. That's not something you want to mess with. Okay, let me get my jar getter. Okay. And get my jars out one at a time. Guess I should have put a little vinegar in that water. Okay. Wow, that is absolutely horrible. Stop. Okay. Filling up the jars. I'm going to leave about 3/4 of an inch of headspace. Which you'll see on the bottom of that funnel, there's 3/4 inch, or pretty much at the bottom of the threads before the threads begin. You know where the ring goes. And be careful, this stuff is hot. Okay, so you take off the funnel, wipe off the rim of the jar, put on your hot lid in your ring, and then I'm going to process these for 15 minutes in boiling water. Okay. Aren't these beautiful? Get them into the water. I ended up making 5 pints. Would have made 10 half pints, but I'm kind of out of half pint jars. I haven't really been able to find them, so I'm going to get this covered up and set the timer for 15 minutes. There we go. And clean up, and I'll get back to you in 15 minutes. Okay, there we go. Almost 5 pints. This one's a little bit slack in the back right here, but that's okay. We'll just pop that one open tomorrow morning for breakfast. So there you go. Wild blackberry jam. Freshly made. Wonderful. Ooh, that's pretty. And only for the cost of pectin. Oh, I forgot to mention I did add a tablespoon of lemon juice, sugar, and a little bit of thyme. So take care.